Hello and welcome to this FPL Gameweek 35 transfer plans video with me, Holly Shand. It's the final standard game week before the end of the season, so there's lots to discuss here. If you're enjoying my new camera and lights upgrade, let me know in the comments. Leave a like if you're enjoying it and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let's get into it. I'm recording this video on Monday morning. We still have 5 fixtures remaining from double game week 34, so my advice is to not make any transfers until closer to the deadline, preferably after Friday's press conferences. My double game week 34 is going okay for now. I'm on a 30k green arrow as things stand. I've had a lot of things go my way, including the fact that I made that decision to hold Kane and Fernandes and not go for Salah. Luckily, those two players that I held were big differentials that both performed for me. So I need Salah to stay quiet for Liverpool in their second double game week fixture. I also need Haaland not to go too crazy, because even though I've captained him, his effective ownership is over 200% because of the sheer number of triple captainships active. Clean sheets were difficult to come by in the first fixtures from double game week 34, so I feel very lucky to have points from Steele and Shaw, and obviously an assist from my transfer in Alexander-Arnold. So I'm hoping that I can hang on to that green arrow, but I've only got 9 doublers remaining and no Salah. Transfer plans then, and I've got one free transfer going into game week 35, 1.9 million in the bank. And at this stage of the season, it's really important to maximise for the double game weeks and also to pick out the weakest areas in your squad. Now, in terms of my moves, I'm a little bit concerned about my Brighton assets at the moment, because March and Matoma haven't really been delivering too great for me in the last few game weeks, particularly with their 1-pointers in the first fixture of double game week 34. Matoma has now got 4 consecutive blanks and March hasn't scored since the international break. So I'll be interested to see how they do in their second fixture against Manchester United, but they are certainly players that I may be looking to improve on in the coming weeks, particularly when Brighton have got a really nice fixture against Everton at home this week. So there's always going to be talk about Brighton players, especially after they scored 6 at the weekend, and especially because of who the goal scorers were. But I am starting to think, am I on the optimal Brighton triple up? I'm obviously very happy with Steele, but a few players that caught my eye in game week 34 were Welbeck, Undav and Stupinan, who all scored really heavily in game week 34 against Wolves in that 6-0 victory. Now, Welbeck was second among all players for shots in game week 34 so far with 5, with an XG of 0.84. Undav was second for big chances with 2 and had an XG of 0.94, putting him second of all players. All of these stats, by the way, are taken from the OptaStats tool on Fantasy Football Hub, which you can get full access to, fully customisable, using the link in the description to this video to get 30% off your membership. Now, Stupinan also had a really good game. He scored heavily, but he could have got even more FPL points because he had 1 big chance, 3 key passes in that game as well. So, you know, he should have got a goal, assist and a clean sheet and max bonus in that game. So I am open to moving on March or Matoma to getting one of Welbeck, Undav or a Stupinan. The problem is, at the moment I've only got 1 free transfer and these players are not midfielders, so it's going to take a bit of surgery to do that. So I'll be scouting out the Brighton players against Manchester United before I make a final decision on that one. Another player who's been disappointing so far in Manchester City's double game week is Jack Grealish, and he's a player that I'm open to selling in the short term because Manchester City double again in game week 37, but they've got both legs of their crunch Champions League tie against Real Madrid before that. So I feel like Grealish could be a player that is disposable, perhaps not this week with Leeds at home, especially if he looks nailed on for a start. To be fair though, his underlying numbers are still fairly good. He had 3 shots on target in the game on Sunday, and he arguably should have come away with more from that game. So maybe I'm being a bit harsh on him, and I'll be interested to see how he performs against West Ham. Obviously, if he delivers in that game, then he's probably going to be going nowhere. But the motivation for selling Grealish in the short term is, at the moment, I've only got 2 Newcastle United players and I really need 3 for their double game week in 36. Now, it's not a move that I'm looking to make this week because they play Arsenal, and I think that's going to be a tough fixture. But one player that's really caught my eye is Callum Wilson, and I may be tempted to move back into a traditional 3-4-3 formation by upgrading Greenwood to Wilson. Now, I was all team Isaac before this game week, nearly brought in Isaac last week, but we have to bear in mind just how good Wilson has been. In game week 34, he had 6 shots in 45 minutes against Southampton, the most of any player. He also was top for shots in the box, also with 6, top for big chances with 3, and had an XG of 1.42, putting him top among all players. And since the international break, he's had 8 goals and 1 assist. And he's only started 2 games in that time. So basically, he's a super sub that's absolutely delivering for Newcastle United. And whether he's on the bench or on the pitch, you can be very pleased with his potential. So double game week 36 against Leeds and Brighton. I really want to get him in my team. So I'm possibly going to roll the transfer in game week 35 if I get through the rest of double game week 34 unscathed. And then maybe in game week 36, I'll look to downgrade Grealish and upgrade my 3rd striker spot from Greenwood to Wilson. I want to know your transfer dilemmas. Get in the comments. I'll do my best to answer all of your questions within 24 hours of this video going live. If you've enjoyed it, leave a like, and if you're new around here, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.